Agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Manns, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Moran is here. Mr. Rathel?
Here.
Mr. Manns?
Here.
Mr. Filarski?
Here.
Mr. Hornby?
Here.
Mr. Loftus is excused. Mr. Heil?
Here.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and we have one new action item, which is the approval of a building lease for 27502 Meridian Road, Unit 500 for Fabio Clam. If we can add that as an action item. Motion by Mr. Filarski.
Support.
Support by Mr. Manns to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is presentations. Any presentations?
None this evening.
With that, we will move on to our next item, which is public comment. There's no one out in the public today, so we will move on to our next item, which is the approval of the minutes of the February 18th, 2025 general meeting. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review that. And if there's no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Filarski.
Support.
Any support? Support by Mr. Manns.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is our financial reports. First one is the approval of the December 2024 financials. We've got three that we're needing to approve today because at the last meeting, we had to approve we had to table the December meeting, and because of that, we didn't approve the January. So we've got December, January, and February on tonight's agenda. Janelle, anything you want to point out in the December financials?
I'll just walk down the December financials, couple of things you'll see. You'll see the activity report for the professional services where we've exceeded our budget about roughly $13,000, and that's due to the CADXs that we did for the bar restaurant and the SHPO and the hangar. And then the other is the $92,000 and some change for the T-hanger painting. The only report, it's the only thing I want to mention.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions on the December 2024 financials? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Rathel,
Second.
support by Mr. Hornby to approve the December 2024 financials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the January 2025 financials. Janelle, anything you'd like to point out in the January financials?
Just want to point out that the insurance and bonds were removed, or as the activities, so you'll see a little bit more, or you'll see higher expenditures due to that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the January financials? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Filarski.
I'll support.
And supported by Mr. Manns. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Motion to approve the January 2025 financials. And we have before us our report that indicates we have a budgeted amount of $1,656,967. Our year-to-date revenue is $1,203,267, and that equates to 72% of our year-to-date budget. Our expenditures are budgeted at the same $1,656,967. Our year-to-date encumbrances and expenditures are $1,128,904, which is 68% of our budget. Our capital reserves as of February 28th is $667,347. And our past due rent summary as of March 12th is $6,190. With that, Janelle, anything you want to point out in the February financials?
If you notice that the special savings is down just about $109,000, there was a shift in the special savings to make a payment that you don't see a reflection on the activity for expenditures. I don't think I saw it just yet. For our move to the general fund to pay the interdepartmental loans. And as far as payment for Building 75, we did receive a payment of $4,000 for that, so he is only owing March.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Rathel.
You know, I was just going to ask you, because I was surprised to see that drop in February. Doesn't that usually happen in March at the end of the year? Why did they take it?
I don't know. I have a meeting with Teresa tomorrow, so.
And, so have you seen the accounting of how they came up with that amount?
Not yet. No, I have a meeting with Teresa tomorrow, so I can find out.
What I said about everybody but your commission?
Notice how I made an appointment to see the financial director to
Okay.
get the specific.
Because it just does something, it's not, it's not the way that it's been, and I'd like to see the accounting of, that.
Those transfers? Mm-hmm. Understood.
Any other comments or questions on the February financials? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rathel. Support by Mr. Filarski to approve the February 2025 financials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Our next item is our action items, and this was an item we added, and it is the approval of a building lease for 27502 Meridian Road, Unit 500 for Fabio Clam. We have a recommendation based on the recommendation from the Grosse Ile Airport Manager. The Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a building lease with Fabio Clam for Building 63, located at 27502 Meridian, Unit 500 for $1,600 a month, and it's for a year lease from April 1, 2025 through March 31st, 2026. Motion by Mr. Mans,
Support.
or by Mr. Filarski. Under discussion, this was a unit that just became available, and my understanding was this tenant was on a waiting list, and so just as it opened up, we had someone to fill it right away,
In hours.
which is why we're now talking about maybe adding some more units.
Correct.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Rathel.
I think it's important to know that there's other interest in those units, so when we look at doing the ROI for the additional units, we have, I think, not only the history, because there's never been a vacancy in those 8 units that we have, and the wait list of companies and people that want to move into one when one is available, so I think it's an important project to get going, because we're leaving revenue on the table by not having those spaces available.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we have a motion by Mr. Mann, supported by Mr. Filarski. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is our discussion items. Item number 1 is the community engagement with the Airport Advisory Committee. Janelle?
So I just wanted to wrap around with the community engagement proposals during my last airport advisory committee meeting. And during that meeting, they were thinking of ways to begin to communicate with the general public, to get people down here and introduce aviation to them. And they had some pretty good ideas. And one of the ideas that they had was doing and I don't know if this has been done, but doing a field trip for the elementary schools and bringing the kids down, come and set up different stations and have the kids come for whatever, an hour or two to do a trip here to the airport to get the kids engaged. And I know that we had the DCTC, remember last month we spoke to Hall's Flying Service. They did a presentation and how they're starting to get back involved in the AAA chapter and the DCTC program and creating like an aviation curriculum with Detroit City, Willow Metro, and then Grosse Ile, and involving more of hopefully an aviation community if we can get a curriculum together for these 3 airports combined. So that's the goal, to kind of engage people in the aviation world. But the other suggestion was maybe putting up a static display during Island Fest and trying to capture some of those people that come down with the Island Fest and do a static display during the Island Fest to just capture that. So they are willing to volunteer their time to come and put their planes on display for people that come to the Island Fest and kind of show off the aviation side of things. So just a couple of conversations going on there. I think pretty good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a
kind
great
of
idea. And I
kind of
think
exciting.
when Halls was at our last meeting, they had indicated they had talked to some students that didn't even know there was an airport on Grosse Ile.
So, and that kind of generated the conversations with the AAC, and they came together and said, look, we'll help volunteer our time to put together some of these, more aeronautical community events. So, good news.
Any questions for Janelle? Hearing none, we'll move on to our next discussion item, which is the History on Wheels 100th anniversary event.
John, you want to touch on this a little bit? Did you see Brian? Brian was supposed to touch on this a little bit. Did you happen to catch Brian's email today?
Yeah, so basically, the History on Wheels, if you were here last year, you saw that it was a tremendously successful event with a lot of classic cars and trucks, but some pretty cool planes. So the Historical Society came up with an idea of celebrating the 100th anniversary of military aviation here at the airport. And what that's going to look like, no one knows at this point, but I think everyone's committed to doing it at that same time. So Brian and myself and the Historical Society, and with Janelle obviously, is trying to figure out, what we want to do and have. So we'll see.
Is there a date already set?
It would be the same day as the History on Wheels event, which is July 26th, and a rain date of July 27th.
Wanted to make sure we get that date out.
Yep. And that's really it, just kind of beginning the conversations and seeing what that's going to look like. And if we're able to do it now, we're able to do it, but it may wait. We're just trying to get it all together at this point.
Okay. Move on to our next item is a manager's report. Item 1 is the DIA Partners in Public Art. Janelle?
As you know, there was topic of conversation in getting Building 28 and putting a mural on the building right out front. And I did send out the application for that. So there are there's 3 cities, townships that will be accepted for that mural. They had to be a township. There were certain criteria. The building had to be township owned. And it has to be a mural that engages the community in education, which, being that we have all of the above, including history on that. I figured it was a good opportunity to spruce up the front of that building with the, help from the DIA. So hopefully we'll be accepted for that grant, but I wanted to let everyone know that we were moving forward with it.
Any idea when they're going to announce?
It didn't say.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rathel?
I have no idea what building 28 is. I'm sorry. I mean.
9537.
So
No,
the-
that
so
little- the little building.
The little shack that
The little
used to be
shack.
the electrical house.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, these,
It is.
It's
Well,
the little building.
it is. It's a little shack out there.
to me, it's the little shack that, but anyway, so my bigger question is, who determines what the art will look like?
Oh, we determined that last week when you weren't here, so it's gonna be a mural silhouette of you.
You got me there,
I
Janelle.
know. No, we don't know yet. Let's get accepted first and then we'll decide.
Well, I
whether- It
mean,
needs to be aviation related.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get accepted and then it's not going to be a me. We need to clarify that before we.
We gotta have a
but-
little fun sometimes, John.
I know. Well, you owe me. That was
I
good.
know.
You owe me.
Statue of John out in front of
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Does anybody want
you
to
know,
make a motion?
we don't, we don't, we don't want it to look like anything that's on Macomb Street.
No, I think it's gotta be some,
It has to be some kind of airport related, right?
yeah.
We could put a cigar to this. Yeah.
Put a Corsair on there. That'd be pretty awesome.
Okay, well, as long as we can pick it.
Well, we have time to think about it.
Just make sure we're able to pick it.
We can pick it.
The building that nobody knows is there, and once it gets a mural, everybody's going to know it's there.
Yeah, and it's one of those that we don't want anyone to know it's there.
Well, if it had a pretty mural on it, then it would look a heck of a lot better. Hey,
Could they do the pecan hanger too instead?
Yeah.
no, I thought about that.
You know what a good mural would be is like, it's, art is subjective, right? So we can do a mural on the tennis center, and then we can just paint it all one color.
Wouldn't that be great?
And if that's the case, they could pick the color. I don't care.
Even if it's like fluorescent green,
It's like a tennis ball.
kind of like my shirt.
Just like that.
So I'll let you know.
Okay, we will move on to our next item, which is the decommission of the NDB.
This is just a friendly reminder. I know I had mentioned this probably last year that the NDB is going to be decommissioned, and it'll be decommissioned in April. I don't know exactly when, but it's just to let everyone know that that will be decommissioned, and that's all I have to say with that.
So you want to tell everyone what NDB stands for?
Non-directional beacon. Sure Daryl can tell you all about how to use it too.
Any other comments or questions on the decommissioning of our beacon? If not, we'll move on to our manager's report, item number 3, which is the FAA consent enabling the non-aeronautical use of surplus airport property at ONZ, AKA bar/restaurant.
What?
Janelle?
I'm gonna let John take
No,
this one.
no, it's,
Well, as everyone knows, for the past almost 2 years, we have been trying to get the FAA to approve the use of the part of this building on the east side for a bar restaurant. And Thursday last week, I finally got the approval letter for the use to be used for a bar restaurant in that part of the building, so.
And short-term accommodations.
And short-term accommodations. It'll be a mixed use. So it'll be bar, restaurant, short-term accommodations, and a banquet hall and office space is the proposed mixed use for it.
Well, congratulations. I know both you and John have worked long and hard in trying to make that happen. So I know we're going to be meeting with a prospective developer here soon, and hopefully we'll have some good news that he's ready to go, and we'll get things started. So it's great news for the airport.
Great news for the airport. That's all.
Any questions, comments?
Except for John's super excited about it.
Mr. Athel.
No, Chris said he had to leave early, so I'm not going to get into it right now. Plus, we got to meet with him and make sure.
He's
Got
still
a little bit more work to do.
still interested.
Yeah.
But the hard part is just about to begin, so.
Okay, we will move on to our subcommittee reports. We have none tonight. Is there any open business from commission members? Any open business? No open business. We'll move on to the next item, which is the chairman's report. I have nothing new to report tonight. So we will open it up again to public comment. We have no one in the public today, so unless anyone has anything else to add, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I have
Mr.
one
Rathel.
question. When does the township board approve agendas?
Agendas?
I mean, budgets.
Around the 24th? Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Are we going to resolve that some way? I mean, am I to go and talk with Derek or something and get back to him? Or is there any resolution to this question?
The only question that was raised was when does the board approve budgets?
Yes,
And Janelle said she thought it was on March 24th.
I somehow missed that, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, March-
March 24th.
Is there any other issue with the budget approval that we need to, is there any issue there? Or, we've already approved our budget, right? Made our recommendation?
I do have a question, though, on if there's any further amendments to our budget, or changes to our budget, additions or deletions, that would be approved from the commission here. How would we be able to get that done before the final budget goes to the township board? Because we won't meet.
Well, my question would be, has the final draft of the budget been completed with the changes that were recommended during last week's meeting been completed? During the
Do we
special
know,
meeting?
do we know when the board gets the final budget, Mr. Howell?
I'm not able to answer that. I can find out and let you know.
I mean, did you get a packet today? Was
Yes.
it on there today?
Didn't notice that.
I noticed it was released, but I didn't open it up, but I didn't know if it was a final
No, I
draft.
thought you were referring to, I have, look at this packet of ours.
No, I'm talking about the Board of Trustees packet.
So your understanding is there was a packet for the board that went out today?
I saw it come through my email at like 4:30 or something like that, but I didn't open it up.
I haven't opened mine up.
So we don't know whether the
But I don't know,
budget's.
I don't know what's in there.
So you don't know if there's everyone's budgets for them to review before the meeting? You don't know if all those budgets, the entire township budget was in that package?
No, because I did not open the email.
Oh, okay.
If I understand this, just to repeat it, make sure my head's screwed on straight. The question is, what's the final date for the approval of all the budgets?
24th.
Okay,
But then the follow-up question was, when does the board get the final draft
before that approval.
before that
Okay,
approval?
now I'm clear, thank you.
Okay. So, and
And I
we
don't know-
think it went out, you think it went out today, but we don't know that.
Correct. Like I saw an email with the agenda, but I did not open the packet.
So we don't know if that budget is been altered from the one that we approved.
Yes,
Okay. So hopefully at some point we'll see that and we'll have an understanding of what, if anything, was changed.
correct.
Okay? Anything else?
That answer your question?
Not right now.
If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Athel. Support by Mr. Bands. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries.